Today, in this episode of The Blue Sofa, I'm gonna walk you through the 5 core areas of emotional intelligence and how they can help you get more clarity, feel more flow in your business, and actually gear you towards more success. So it feels like a struggle to be in your business, even though you are doing all the things in the business. Or you have tried to follow advices or follow strategies, but you still feel like you're spinning your wheels, not really getting anywhere, and it feels extremely frustrating. Then I'm sure you're gonna love this episode, because what we're going to talk about is emotional patterns that are keeping you stuck. We're gonna talk about how to regulate your nervous system so you can get into your own flow again. And you're gonna learn what truly drives sustainable motivation and why emotional intelligence are a key to your business and to your business success. And at last, how to build deeper trust and deeper connections in your relationships with your clients, but honestly also with your team or with any kind of partner you have in your business, and even with your family and your loved ones. So the first thing that's really important when we want to be in business in a sustainable way that creates us long-term success without the struggle, without frustration, without feel like we're spinning our wheels, is knowing what you feel and why you feel that. For example, you feel when you compare yourself, you react with jealousy, or you react with feeling defeat. Or if somebody doesn't want to buy your products, you feel rejection. Or if you have a slow launch, you feel like you're a failure. And even though it's normal to go through the emotions and react to whatever is going on around you and inside of you, it's very important when we want to lead in our business, we want to be proactive and we want to create from a place of peace, that we bring self-awareness to our patterns and we bring self-awareness to our feeling. So self-awareness is the foundation of all leadership. No matter what you want to lead. Do you want to lead your clients? Do you want to lead your marketing? Do you want to lead your sales? Do you want to lead your product development? Do you want to lead a team? Do you want to lead yourself? And the thing is, you can't shift, you can't create something new, or you can create from a new place if you are unwilling to see, if you're unwilling to observe yourself and take radical responsibility for your reactions. A really good exercise is to observe yourself. So it could be, if you know a situation where you will get triggered, just observe yourself and ask yourself, what emotion is present in my body right now? And what do you think about your business in this moment? I would even recommend making a commitment to yourself and creating these emotional check-ins every single day for the next week, and just track your emotions and track your triggers and track your patterns, because awareness is power. Self-awareness is that bridge that's gonna take you from frustration to way more ease and flow. And the more you know about yourself, the less others can project onto you, and the more leadership you can be in, and the more peace you can also be, both in your client relationships, but also as the leader of your business and the leader of your mission and the leader of your message. And the more peace you can be in, the more free you are. The more free you are to create, to show up, to, pivot your business if that's what you want to do, because you're not attached anymore. You're not attached to the triggers and the wounds inside of you. The next part of using emotional intelligence in your business is self-regulation. So it's simply holding your triggers with grace instead of reacting. I think a really great example, I know a lot of people fear. I definitely feared it a lot when I wasn't that visible on social media. But that's like having a troll in your comment section. And I had that so many times. And I remember the first time I had a troll or somebody who was criticizing one of my posts. I froze completely. I froze and I got so triggered. I was immediately, I just wanted to react. I just wanted to delete it. I just wanted to get rid of it so I didn't have to look at it, because it just triggered that feeling of doing something wrong and not being, not being good enough, and also saying something wrong that other people could misunderstand or could honestly pissed them off, and I didn't want that. So I went through like a whole emotional roller coaster, and I didn't even recognize it at that point. What I recognized was I was afraid that something was off. It didn't feel good, and that's why I wanted to escape. So I wanted to not be visible anymore, not talk about this subject anymore. And of course, that's not a very self-regulated place to take action from, right? So regulation doesn't mean suppressing. It doesn't mean that you don't feel your emotions. It just means creating space between this trigger and between the action that you take. So instead of just reacting, instead of just deleting the comment and never wanting to talk about that subject again, what I should have done is give myself a little bit of space, give myself some love, basically, some taking care of that part of me, that inner child part of me that actually needed healing, that needed caretaking, that needed a hug, basically, and allow myself to ground and to simply go into what is happening within me. What are the emotions? What are they reminding me about? What's the trigger? Where it's coming from? And what is the belief underneath that trigger? What are the thoughts and feelings underneath that trigger? What's the stories about myself, about life, about my business, about me being on stage? What are the underlying stories? So I could give myself the gift of reframing those and healing that wound and setting myself free. So what you could do to self-regulate, maybe you just give yourself one moment the next week where you get triggered and just allow yourself to take a break, step out of the situation and hold yourself a little bit and just journal through what's going on, what am I feeling, what are the stories, beliefs underneath this, and how can I reframe it? And journal on what shifted within you so that you can start living from that place, demonstrating for yourself, well, this thing that I got triggered about, it's not that I'm, powerless. I can actually react in a more self-regulated way. I can communicate in a more empowering, constructive way. I can be more assertive and I can hold myself through this in a more wholesome way instead of freezing or fighting or simply trying to get away from the situation. Because the thing is, we will be triggered. Like, we can't control our surroundings. There will be trolls. There will be clients who will challenge you. There will be situations where your business is going up and down and up and down and up and down. And you have to lead yourself and eventually your team through that. And a regulated, empowered leader doesn't shake. They don't shake. They take care of their emotional wealth and emotional well-being so that they can show up in a way more grounded and sustainable and confident. Not because they're faking confidence, but because they hold the room. Even when things are shaking, they are the one driving the leadership, driving the direction and the mission, even though everything is shaking. I know one of the things that in practicing emotional intelligence that really helped me a lot was to understand the difference between pressure and purpose. So being driven by purpose it feels like an inner fire, a sustainable, warm inner fire that is just burning, very sustainable. Whereas being motivated by pressure, it feels like a spurt of fire that flares up and then it burns out. And that's the problem with when we are trying to lead our business and grow our business from an unregulated place, is that we are motivated in a way where we are like this that spurs to life and then we burn out. And that often happens when we are chasing external validation, like external metrics like likes, income goal, this much growth, and so on. And it can, for most people, it takes us away from the real motivation, and that's the purpose, the real, like the inner fire, the real driver inside of us that's sustainable, and that's the feeling of purpose. So the moment we start to subscribe to pressure, right? Pressure is going to be our driving force for motivation, then we disconnect from ourselves. We disconnect from purpose. So motivation is more sustainable when it's soul-led, when it is led from that purpose. And true drive, that sustainable flame inside of you, then that comes from purpose, from why. Why are you doing this? Why is this so important for you? All the way into your heart, and not from you have to, you must, you should, like all of these more forced energies that we sometimes, can lean into, but eventually they're going to burn us out. So what if you allowed yourself to take pressure off? What would you still feel called to create if you didn't force yourself to feel the pressure, and if you didn't force yourself to create from pressure? Maybe even give yourself a small assignment and revisit your big why. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you so committed to this business? Why are you so committed to creating this kind of lifestyle? And rewrite it. Rewrite it in front of you with in your journal, or even on your phone, so you can keep on revisiting it and connect to that strong feeling of why you're actually doing this. Because the moment we choose to connect to our purpose instead of pressure for motivation, we completely stop hustling to get that external validation, and you can start connecting to your internal fire, your internal drive, and that's so much more potent and so much more powerful. The next thing I want to talk about when it comes to emotional intelligence is empathy. So feeling what other people feel without losing yourself. So I'm naturally an empath. So it's very easy for me to connect with other people. It's very easy for me to understand other people's feelings, where they're coming from. So my problem is not so much to understand and being sensitive to other people's needs and feelings and thoughts, but it is more separating myself from their energy so I can stand, strong in my own needs and my own desires and my own mission and my own direction. Empathy creates this connection. It creates this connection between you and your clients, you and your team, you and your partner, you and your kids. And it is the key to a very, very connected relationship. But if we lose ourselves in our empathy and we forget to have, solid boundaries, we don't know how to communicate in an assertive way, we don't know how to negotiate or listen to somebody and then use our own voice to find some kind of compromise or a harmony between desires and directions, then it can be really, really draining to be an empath. And at the same time, it's also the key. Like understanding your client deeply is the key to helping them to transform. Because when we feel seen, when we feel heard, we feel safe. And when we're safe, it's natural for us and it's easy for us to say yes to the next step. Have you ever, I don't know if you have kids, but I have 4 kids. And if you want your kids to do something they've never done before, they need safety. If they have safety and they have you by their side and you believe in them and you listen to them and you help them overcome whatever emotions that are blocking them to do this new thing, for example, riding a bike ride, you are there with them and you can guide them and you can support them and you can understand where they're coming from, it's way easier for them to find the confidence and the courage to do this new thing. And it's the same with your clients. So empathy is going to help you so much to become a better coach, a better therapist, a better healer, a better, mentor, guide. It will help you give your clients way better transformation, also way more sustainable transformations. But again, when we are empath, we also need to hold our own space. We need to hold our own boundaries and also, help our clients, but not drain our own resources. And I think that's one of the most difficult things navigating business as an empath. And to do that, and that's the tip I want to give to you today. Like, first of all, of course, like, use your empathy. It's a superpower, but also make sure that you take excellent care of yourself, because your clients don't need a savior. They need somebody who sees them, and they need somebody who have the resources and the energy to actually be constructive and to actually be assertive around them and help them see where the blocks are, help them to go through the transformation. You can only do that if you take excellent care of yourself, so you don't drain your own energy from having too much work or doing too much that drains you, or simply just being too much on, or choosing a format in your business that's just draining your resources. Another thing that empathy is amazing for, and that will help you with your business success, is that empathy is the ability to connect, right? It's the ability to connect with another person. It is the ability to understand other people's emotions, thought processes, and what they're going through. And that is the key to magnetic messaging and to a very soulful service, but also to positioning your marketing, your products, and your sales in a way where people really understand, this is what she's talking about. This is how I'm feeling. This is the problem I'm having. And she knows how to solve it because obviously she understands me. So, that's where empathy is a superpower in our business. Not only is it great for your client relationships and for the transformation of your clients, but also for content creation, for creating sales pages, for creating products. So use a little bit of time tuning into, that's why I love this exercise so much, tuning into your dream client. What are they feeling? How are they experiencing their problems? And how can you feel into their hearts without trying to fix them? Just listen, allow your energy to listen to them so you experience what they experience. And then just choose one piece of content this week and rewrite it from this place of deep empathy. Like you're writing to this one person, this one soul. When you allow yourself to use your empathy in your marketing and your selling, your clients will understand just how much you actually seize them and just how much you actually understand them. And that is one of the most amazing gifts you can give that person. So using your superpower empathy is great for your marketing. It's great for your positioning. It's great for your selling because it demonstrates that you truly understand the client, which you do, which is a great thing. And they feel more connected to you. And of course, we can feel when it comes from a real place, from this real place of really wanting to help and understand and see another person. It's a really beautiful place of marketing from your heart. And that's what emotional intelligence helps us to do. So if you identify as an empath, like this is one of the superpowers that you can most definitely utilize in your business. There's another superpower when it comes to emotional intelligence, and that is social skills. So social skills is a huge part of being emotional intelligent. And navigating a relationship using your emotional intelligence will help you get so much more from your relationships. And that doesn't even matter if it's your client relationship or your relationship with your team members or partner or like your spouse or even your kids and family members and friends. So using your emotional intelligence actively and practicing it in your relationships will give you so much better conversations and give you so much more connection and intimacy with the people around you. And for example, when we have teenagers, right? And I'm just going to throw them a little bit under the bus here. So we have teenagers, and sometimes when you have teenagers, you need to have hard conversations. You need to have conversation about things that may or may not be the most amazing conversations to have. For example, if they feel some kind of injustice, or they feel they had like a bad experience with a friend or boyfriend or girlfriend like that. And you have to be the one having that conversation with them about, what happened. Could they have done something differently? Did they react in the best way possible? And for example, for us, what is so important is to understand my teenagers. So really sit down, look them in the eyes, and try to understand from their perspective what's going on, and acknowledge their feelings, acknowledge their motivations for doing what they wanted to do or not wanting to do, and try to understand what went before and where do they want to go. And then helping them to understand how can they navigate this next step in their lives. And it's the same when you sit with a client. So instead of just saying, well, that's not a problem, or you just need to get up and get going, and try to understand. Try to, have this difficult conversation with the client and talk about, what is actually bothering you? What is challenging you? Why is it challenging you? And what are you feeling about it? What are your thoughts about it? And where do you want to go? And how can we talk about how to navigate into that place the best way possible for you? So you have these conversations with grace, right? Because business relationships, they thrive on intimacy. People thrive when they're being seen. You thrive when you're being seen. I thrive when you're being seen. We all deserve to be seen. And it's not about being nice, but it's about being real and showing up and really want to connect with other people. It's a very abundant place, I feel. I mean, just connection is such an abundant place. Not fixing. It's not about fixing. And it's not about people pleasing. It's about wanting to connect, and it's about wanting to understand, and it's about wanting to, help a person from one place to the other. And it's also about holding yourself in this neutral place of being, and this space that is so extremely fertile, because it creates a space of growth where instead of trying to fix, or instead of being in a in a hesitant energy or a frustrated energy, you invite the client into an energy of solving a problem, of growing, about self-improvement, or improving a situation, improving something in the business. And it's absolutely amazing. So one of the biggest skills to be able to do this is, of course, managing your own triggers, like self-improvement, healing whatever triggers and wounds you have inside of yourself, so you don't get out of alignment the moment somebody says something that's triggering you. But also to help your clients to understand, what is it that you really feel, and what is it that you really need in this moment, and what is it that feels very, very aligned to you, and invite them to share. Invite them to be part of the conversation and openly and honestly sharing. So maybe you can practice this at home or with a client. So maybe identify one conversation that you find this could be a challenging conversation, and then write down what you want to say. How can you express your truth? How can you hold space for the other person? How can you be curious about the other person's situation, the other person's thoughts and feelings, and where they want to go? And how can you be curious about your own triggers, what's going on inside of you? Because being authentic, being real, and being in this place of service, it doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries, or it doesn't mean that you don't have needs. It doesn't mean that people could just throw whatever they want on you. But it means that you are brave enough to have hard conversation and listen to people and help them through whatever they're going through, without that takes anything from you. And that clarity, and that being able to hold that space of clarity, that's kindness, and that's empathy, and that's transformation in action. So emotional intelligence is actually not about being perfect or being a people pleaser or manipulating at all. It's about meeting others and meeting yourself with compassion. It's about leading your business from compassion and with purpose, like that heartfelt purpose. And then expand your own capacity by healing your wounds and your triggers to actually hold both softness and success and sensitivity at once, no matter where you go. And I think if you identify as an empath, you know that it will never feel right to build a business through force. It will never feel right to do that. But self-awareness, softness, embracing your sensitivity, that is a superpower because they are rooted directly in your emotional intelligence. I think most of the people I know, if not everyone, is highly sensitive, is very aware, and is already an empath. And by digging into those powers, digging into your emotional intelligence, learning how to self-regulate, learning how to understand your triggers and have these assertive, graceful conversation, I think you're gonna feel like you finally came home and you can build a business from that softness instead of any kind of force. So I really want to encourage you to embrace your emotional intelligence in your business. It is a huge key for sustainable success, for better and deeper client relationships, and for understanding your clients in such a deep way that your messaging and your marketing becomes so much more magnetic. So if you love these kind of conversations and you enjoyed this episode, go to Instagram and let me know what is the one emotional intelligent practice you are going to try in your business or going to dive deeper into. If you love this way of doing business, or you are a sensitive, empathic person and you are in business, then come join me in Rising Star. That's my mentoring program. And we blend soulful strategy, we blend inner work with growth, so you can actually grow your business in a way that is super authentic, but also go through the whole transformational process as you do it. Now, that was all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did creating it. Have an absolutely stunning day, and I will see you in the next episode.